Is it my personality? Am I too introverted? Is something wrong with me? If you've had these thoughts, today's episode is for you. There's one big reason why building confidence can feel so hard, and spoiler, it's not because your personality is flawed. In fact, it's probably not something you've ever been taught to look for. Today, you're going to learn what it is, and most importantly, how to move forward and start building that deep confidence you've been craving. Let's dive in.
Welcome to The Art of Speaking Up, a podcast that helps professional women access the limitless potential that lies within them. I'm your host, Jessica Guzik, and my mission is to help you find that spark inside you that has the power to transform your career in ways you may not have thought possible. I'm so excited that you're here. And now, on to the show.
Welcome to the podcast. I am so excited about today's episode. Today's episode is all about helping you learn how to feel more confident, and I'm going to be teaching you a very juicy framework that you've never heard before because it's a framework that I created, and it's going to help you, number one, understand why you might feel stuck when it comes to building sustainable, lasting confidence, and number two, it's going to give you a simple roadmap of key actions that you can take to accelerate your process of building confidence, which is a super important thing to do because when you feel more confident, everything in your professional life gets better. You start speaking up more. You feel more engaged in the work that you're doing. People see you speaking up and they start to really view you as more of a thought leader. That benefits your professional reputation, which helps you get promoted faster. And that reputation and that promotion helps you feel really proud and accomplished inside, which further fuels that confidence that you're already feeling. Confidence truly has an enormous power to shape the future of your professional experience in a profound and positive way. And that is why I spend so much time talking about it and coaching on it. So the confidence building framework that I am going to be teaching you today is called wanted goals versus unwanted goals. So let me teach you what a wanted goal is as our first step. A wanted goal is exactly what it sounds like. It's a goal that you want. So for example, you might want to build confidence. You might want to get promoted. You might want to be able to speak with greater confidence in the room. These are all examples of wanted goals. An unwanted goal is a goal that we are pursuing, but it's a goal that we don't want. We are pursuing something that we don't even want. Now, you might be thinking, Jess, that does not make sense. Why would I or anyone else pursue a goal that I don't want? Now, the best way for me to answer that question and to teach you one of the core teachings of today's episode is through an analogy. I want you to imagine that we have a fictional person named Barbara. And she has a wanted goal, aka a goal that she wants of building muscle and getting super strong. So she decides to make a plan to go to the gym. She's going to go 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And she knows that if she sticks with that routine, she will get stronger and build muscle. So Monday rolls around and her alarm goes off. It's time for her to get up and go to the gym. But she feels super tired. So she hits snooze and she skips her gym day. And then Wednesday rolls around and she says to herself, no, I'm not hitting the snooze button. I'm getting to the gym. This goal is important to me. So she wakes up with her alarm clock, she puts on her workout clothes and she goes to the gym. But then as soon as she gets there, she sees all of these really muscular people working out and using all these machines that are unfamiliar to her. And she starts to feel really out of place and self-conscious in the gym. So she walks around and looks at the machines, but she feels too afraid to even go up to one of the machines because she doesn't even know how to use them. And she doesn't want people staring at her and judging her. So she ends up leaving the gym because she's so self-conscious and she doesn't get her workout in. So in this example, Barbara had a clear goal. She wanted to get strong, and yet she didn't take any of the actions that would get her to the thing that she wanted. So why is that? It's because Barbara has what I call unwanted goals. On the surface, she has this very obvious wanted goal of getting strong, but beneath the surface, she has subconscious unwanted goals that are sabotaging her desire to get strong. So one example is Barbara has an unwanted goal of staying cozy in bed when her alarm goes off. We know this because as soon as her alarm went off and it was time for her to follow through on her wanted goal of going to the gym, she had some other goal that overrode her goal of going to the gym and caused her to hit snooze and skip her workout. She also had an unwanted goal of avoiding other people's judgment at the gym. When she finally got herself to the gym, she didn't end up working out because she felt intimidated by the people who were there, and she was afraid that they would watch her trying to use the weight machines and that they would judge her. So she had an unwanted goal of not being judged by other people, and that interfered with her bigger, more important goal of building strength. So these are just a few examples of how unwanted goals can sneakily show up and interfere with the bigger thing that we are wanting to accomplish. And if you have goals that you're working on, even if they're not fitness goals, whatever goals they are, if you are encountering friction in making those things happen for yourself, there's a good chance that there are some unwanted goals that are sabotaging the progress that you are wanting to make. So I want to share some examples of how this could show up in a professional setting, and then we'll talk about how to make sure that unwanted goals aren't unintentionally sabotaging the things that matter most to you. So let's take the example of having a wanted goal of getting a promotion. And I can share from personal experience back when I was in my corporate / 9-to-5 career. I wanted a promotion. That was a wanted goal. However, I had several unwanted goals that interfered with me pursuing that promotion at the fastest possible pace. So I had the unwanted goal of always feeling very comfortable when I was having one-on-ones with my manager, which meant that I didn't bring up the fact that I wanted a promotion because that felt uncomfortable and I had an unwanted goal of avoiding discomfort. I also had an unwanted goal of feeling 100% in control of every project and every piece of work that I was in charge of. That unwanted goal interfered with my wanted goal of pursuing a promotion because I knew in the back of my mind, if I get promoted, I'm no longer going to feel in control of all my work. It's going to get hard. It's going to be new and scary and unfamiliar. So I had these unwanted goals that interfered with my wanted goal of getting a promotion, which led to me dragging my feet when it came to asking for a promotion. Now, luckily, I was eventually able to grow out of that habit, but in the beginning of my career, it really slowed me down. Here's another example of a common wanted goal and then some of the unwanted goals that sabotage it. So a common wanted goal that I often support my clients with is that they want to speak up more at work. They want to be more visible so that people see them as a thought leader. Now, here are some unwanted goals that interfere with that wanted goal. Often people have the unwanted goal of, I want to be able to predict how everyone in the room is going to respond to my ideas. Or I want to make sure that I am able to control what other people are thinking of me. Those are unwanted goals that will interfere with the wanted goal of speaking up and being seen as a thought leader. Now, building confidence is no different. Very often, people have the wanted goal of wanting to feel more confident, but there are some big unwanted goals that tend to interfere with that. Some examples of those are, I want to feel comfortable. I want to operate within my comfort zone. I want to always feel in control. I want to avoid taking risks or being vulnerable. These are all unwanted goals that interfere with the wanted goal of building confidence. And at this point, you may start to understand why building confidence is easier said than done. If you have a bunch of unwanted goals that are directly interfering with your wanted goal, it is going to start to feel to you like a game of tug of war, where as soon as you start pulling the rope, the other team starts pulling it in the opposite direction. And a lot of times when people decide they want to build confidence, they have no awareness of the idea of unwanted goals. That would be like playing a game of tug of war and going into that game thinking that the goal is for me to just pull the rope over to my side, but there will be no one on the other side pulling it in the opposite direction. And then you go and you play tug of war and you lift up the rope and you're like, holy cow, why is this so much harder than I thought it was going to be? Well, it's because you didn't realize that there were going to be other people on the other side pulling the rope in the other direction. Confidence building is the same. You go in thinking it's going to be easy because you're focused on your wanted goal of building confidence. But then as soon as you start taking action to try to make it happen, your unwanted goals start pulling you in the opposite direction, just like those opponents in tug of war, and it starts to feel harder than you thought it would. Now, one of the fascinating things about unwanted goals is that they represent an inherent paradox. On the one hand, they lead us to an outcome that we don't want, right? So in the Barbara example, her unwanted goals of snoozing in the morning and not feeling uncomfortable at the gym are leading her to not get in shape, which is not an outcome that she wants. However, when it comes to our unwanted goals, they offer us other things that we secretly do want, like comfort and safety and predictability and risk aversion. So inherent in today's conversation about wanted and unwanted goals is this idea that just because we want something doesn't mean that there aren't things about it that we kind of don't want. And it's really helpful to be aware of this, because if we know what game we're playing and we know like, hey, I'm playing a game of tug of war, not a game of just pull a loose rope with no resistance, then at least I can go into that game ready. And I can say, you know what? Tug of war is harder than just pulling on a loose rope. So I'm going to do some arm workouts and get myself real stable so that I can succeed in this game of tug of war. And that's what this episode is for you. I'm helping you prepare for the game of tug of war so that you can actually win. Which brings me to the second part of today's episode, where I'm going to share some principles that will help you achieve your wanted goals and help you prevent your unwanted goals from sabotaging the things that matter most to you. Principle number 1, this one is so important. You have to learn to ambush the unwanted goal before the unwanted goal ambushes you. So let me share a bit of context here. When we first set our goals and think about the things we want, we're usually just focused on wanted goals. So we think to ourselves, okay, I want to feel more confident. I want people to see me as a leader at work, right? Like those are the wanted goals. And so then we think, okay, cool. I have to start speaking up. I have to start really like stepping up in this big group meeting and use my voice and show people what I'm working on and show people my thought leadership. So we have all of these wanted goals in our minds, and then we move straight into pursuit of those wanted goals. Now, the problem with doing this is typically the unwanted goals will pop up as soon as we go to pursue the wanted goals, and they will pop up in a way that surprises us, where we're not expecting them, and they will cause us to fall off track. So you might have set a goal of speaking up in a meeting, but then as soon as you actually join the Zoom room or walk into the physical meeting room, all of a sudden an unwanted goal of staying comfortable and avoiding potential judgment pops up, And that unwanted goal can prevent you from speaking up and achieving the main goal that matters far more deeply to you. And we are most vulnerable and susceptible to this happening when we don't plan for it and we allow the unwanted goal to ambush us before we can ambush it. So we want to flip that on its head, and we want to get ahead of things, and we want to be the one anticipating when the unwanted goal is going to pop up so that it doesn't catch us by surprise. And this is the same model that I use when I'm coaching my clients and helping them build confidence. We start with setting our wanted goals, and I give my clients space to dream of the confidence that they want to build and the person that they want to become. But I know that if I don't slow down and help them understand what unwanted goals are getting in their way, they won't actually be able to make meaningful progress. If we want to actually build the confidence and not just ideate on it in our heads theoretically or in our journals theoretically, then we have to stop and ask ourselves what unwanted goals are going to pop up and interfere with me making progress on my wanted goal. So a really important question that you will want to ask yourself if you are trying to speak up or be more confident or take up more space, but you're not consistently following through, is what unwanted goal is dictating my behavior in the moments where I'm not speaking up, even though I say that I want to. Now, principle number 2 builds on principle number 1. So principle number 2 for getting really good at making your goals happen and not getting sabotaged by unwanted goals is to choose the trade-off that matters to you. The reason wanted goals are hard to accomplish and the reason that confidence is hard to build is because it's imperfect and it comes with certain drawbacks and downsides. So building confidence is a wonderful thing, but also building confidence requires you to put yourself out there and do scary things and take actions that feel uncertain and exit your comfort zone. Those are hard, scary things. Those are downsides and trade-offs that you have to be willing to make if you want to achieve your wanted goal. And similarly, unwanted goals come with their own form of trade-off. On the one hand, they benefit us because we get to stay comfortable, we don't have to stress, we don't have to take a risk, we can just hide in the back of the room. But then on the other hand, they have their own trade-off. We tend to stagnate, we tend to feel frustrated, we get stuck perpetually wondering if we had more capability inside us that we're not tapping into. So both our wanted goals and our unwanted goals have pluses and minuses. And it is really important to make a conscious decision on which of those pluses and minuses is more appealing to you. Would you rather have the confidence, but then also have to work through the vulnerability and exiting your comfort zone? Or would you rather have the comfort and the risk aversion, but then have to work through the frustration of feeling like you're not realizing your full potential? It's a trade-off. Now, for me personally, that decision has always been crystal clear and super easy. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm a coach and I made this my profession, is for me, becoming the person I want to be, having the confidence I want to have, building the career path that I dream about is always my number one priority. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to take risks. I don't always enjoy those things, but for me, they are a very worthwhile price to pay to live the life that I want to live. Which means that if I ever find myself in a moment where my unwanted goals are telling me to just hide, to not go for the thing that I want, right? Like one of my unwanted goals told me, don't start a podcast, Jessica. You don't want people to think that you're weird. You don't want people to think that you're some kind of know-it-all who feels like she needs to start her own podcast. So those were unwanted goals popping up, trying to sabotage me. It was the unwanted goal of not wanting to be judged, not wanting to be exposed or uncomfortable. Now, in that moment, in order for me to make a decision that was aligned with what I actually wanted, I had to slow down and ask myself, what is more important to me? Is the goal of being comfortable more important to me? Or is my goal of starting this podcast and putting my voice out there and possibly launching an entirely new career path more important to me? And for me, it's so clear cut. It's so simple. I never want anything to get in the way of the life that I want to live, the career that I want to have, the person who I want to be. So whenever an unwanted goal pops up for me and I become aware of it and I become aware that it's sabotaging my behavior, there is no negotiation for me. There is no like, oh, but like maybe I should just not do this thing because I'm so clear in what I want and what sacrifices are worth it to me to get there. And this is a really helpful thing to think through. And I'm not saying that you need to be like me. We all get to choose how we want to approach building confidence, how we want to approach our career path, how we want to approach pursuing our dreams. We get to decide what feels right to us. But the most important thing is to decide, because if we don't make that conscious decision, the unwanted goals will pull us down. People who have achieved really big things like big successes or big transformations in their self-confidence, those people achieve those things because they were willing to work through the unwanted goals. And I think a lot of times we think, oh, like these successful people, it was so easy for them to build confidence. It was so easy for them to pursue their career goals. And we think that we're the only ones who are in this tug of war and in this arm wrestle with our unwanted goals. That is not the case. It is literally the people that are clearest on their decision and most willing to make the sacrifice of turning away the unwanted goals over and over until they get what they want. It is those people that tend to create the most success. So principle number 2 is choose your trade-off. Make a conscious decision. Do I prefer the wanted goal and all of the pluses and minuses that come with that? Or do I prefer the trade-offs that come with the unwanted goal? And whatever you choose, it's going to have a downside, but you need to sell yourself on why you don't care about that downside, why that downside is worth it to you. Okay, principle number 3, which is the final principle to help you build confidence and achieve your wanted goals, is to build emotional endurance. Emotional endurance is just your ability to keep going when things get emotionally uncomfortable. When emotional endurance is low, that's when our unwanted goals can sabotage us more easily. Because as soon as things get emotionally uncomfortable, our unwanted goals come in and say, hey, you could just not speak in this meeting and that would feel so comfortable and you wouldn't have to stress and you'd get to feel super calm. What do you say? And if we haven't built the ability to metabolize discomfort in that moment, we're going to say, yes, oh my gosh, yes, there is no way I can speak up. Like, this is too much for me. Whereas when our emotional endurance is high and we are able to do things even when they feel emotionally hard, we have the internal stamina to keep forging ahead even when our unwanted goals try to pull us backwards. Emotional endurance helps you move towards the wanted goal, even if it feels scary, even if you feel nervous, even if it feels uncertain, even if people might be judging you. And after 5 years of coaching women, I firmly believe that this is the most important thing to focus on. And it is the biggest thing that I focus on when I'm working with my clients and helping them build confidence, because I know that it's the thing that works. Building emotional endurance is harder work because you have to be really honest about your difficult feelings. You have to be willing to learn to navigate them rather than to keep trying to avoid them. That's not always the most fun work, but that is the work that builds the real confidence. Any inner work that is not helping you build emotional endurance is not going to offer any form of lasting confidence. And I think it's really tricky because I think that the self-help industry often wants to sell the thing that people want to buy. And the thing that people want to buy is, I want to achieve my goals, but I want it to be easy and I don't want it to ever feel uncomfortable. And so the self-help industry sometimes capitalizes on that and says, yeah, no problem. Like, just journal these 5 affirmations and you'll feel confident. Or like, just get into a really good morning routine and you'll feel confident. Or just meditate every day and you'll feel confident. And we really want to believe that that's true. because those things don't require us to face anything hard. But when it comes to building confidence, we get out what we put in. So if we're only putting in steps that are easy and that don't put us at risk, we're not going to get much growth out of that. And that is why when I'm supporting my clients, I go beyond the surface level stuff and into the deeper emotional work, because what I care about most is that my clients get results and that they achieve meaningful progress when they're working with me. And so while I wish that I could say that the answer to building confidence is just to find that one secret hack, the actual truth is that those hacks that feel too good to be true often are too good to be true, but that's a good thing. Because it means that if you've been trying that stuff and you're still stuck, it's not that something's wrong with you. It's just that that's not the right process for building meaningful confidence. So to summarize everything that I've shared in today's episode, there's two types of goals. Wanted goals, which are the things that we want, and unwanted goals, which are like our secret desires that sabotage the things that we want. This is why we can consciously want something while continuing to self-sabotage any step that we take to try to get that thing. That self-sabotage is us making decisions to move us closer to our unwanted goals, which are in direct opposition to our wanted goals. However, this is a pattern we can break, and oh my gosh, it is so satisfying when you finally break this pattern. And 3 principles that will help you break this pattern are: number 1, learn to ambush your unwanted goals before they ambush you. Number 2, recognize that both wanted goals and unwanted goals involve a trade-off, and choose which trade-off fits with the life that you want to have. And principle number 3, build emotional endurance so that you are able to power through on the steps that you need to take to achieve your wanted goals. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And if this resonated with you, and if you are realizing that this deeper emotional work is the work that you want to do so that you can build lasting confidence and find your voice as a leader, this is the exact work that I guide you through in the Art of Speaking Up Academy. The Art of Speaking Up Academy is my signature program where I help you discover and settle into your voice as a leader. And one of the big ways that I help you do this is by helping you build genuine confidence. The confidence process that you will follow inside this program is the real deal. It is not fluff. It is not more of like the same self-help stuff that has you going in circles. It is the real inner work that is going to help you become emotionally strong so that you can pursue your wanted goals with vigor and determination. If you are ready to make that leap and you want to work with me inside this program, click the link in the show notes and add yourself to the waitlist, or go to jessguzikcoaching.com/academy. When you visit that link, you'll also learn all about the program, what it covers, and how it can help you build that confidence and find your voice as a leader. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode, and I will catch you next week. Bye.